Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling.
Welcome to CryptoEMC, everybody. My name is Rudo, also known as the Chart Artist. And with me is my ever hustling Fibonacci Lee and co-host and trade buddy. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, and you?
I'm great. Today we're going to do a little bit of a mind. I don't know. I can't use the second word. That would be a little explicit. But we're going to do that. And let's call it a mind hack. So when to short Bitcoin? Big question. Let's answer that for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my screen and I want to send love to you guys back. Thanks, Adam. I really appreciate it. Big love to each and every one of you guys for being here every day. And well, let's do that mind hack. So the easy way is a lot of people are bearish at this stage, and some of our a teammate of ours, he does a social report every day for us, and he goes and tracks what is the trends and what everybody's looking for, similar to that social media index that we use to look at the fear and greed index, but a little bit more in depth. And he comes and he gives us this beautiful report we read through. And today's report basically says that if you make a video that's bearish, it will do well. So I thought, well, okay, let's use it to our benefit. But we are bullish. I mean, we've been bullish since forever, but we want to do it justice in a sense. So let's play it as if we were bearish. And the argument is, if we're bearish, where should we be shorting? So both me and Lee were talking about it earlier. And Lee, what did you say? Because we were practicing this to try and do it well. And then Lee basically gave me some pointers. So let's give the pointers out to everybody. And then let's hope that I don't make the same mistake again. So
what did I say?
He worked with me, yeah.
I said so much. I don't know. Where must I start?
Okay. Well, then let's keep it secret. Otherwise, I might just lose a little bit more credibility here. Okay, guys. So I've got Bitcoin as a clean chart. This is literally a clean copy. I haven't saved it, and it's on the Bitfinex chart. Why? Because I want to see as much data as I could possibly get. And the argument is, say I'm bearish. What do I look for to be bearish? Now, when we look at bearish scenarios, and a lot of you guys, I mean, let's quickly go to the chat. I want to see. Give me a 999 if you're bearish. Let's see where you're at. And give me a 111 if you're bullish. And if you're in the middle somewhere, give me a 555. So we got an idea of how the community feels. So bearish on Bitcoin, 999. Bullish on Bitcoin, 111. And if you're in the middle, a 555. Let's quickly see what so Mike is bearish. Let's see if there's any bullish guys. A lot of 999s. We've got a 6. So Luca, you're kind of bearish, not quite bearish enough. And then there's some bullish guys here as well. I see Adam. I see AJ's in the middle. Okay, so you get the idea that everybody's got their own mind, their own thing. But I want to ask each and every one of you guys, if you're bearish or if you're bullish, irrespective, how do you make money in crypto? If you're new, you go long, you go bullish. That's the only real scenario that you have. So most people train themselves to be bullish just like that because of that. Because when you start crypto, you buy, and the idea is I'm buying, and something's going to happen in the background, and then tomorrow this thing is going to be worth more. And the idea is then I sell, and then I made a profit, and then I'm a genius. And mostly of the time, when you get it right, you get the good buy. Tomorrow you don't want to sell because you don't want to stop being a genius. And that's when we get to that euphoria wave and everybody forgets to take profit. But now let's get back to the main basis. You buy so that price goes up. So when we look at my chart over here, and the argument is, how do I look if it's time to be bearish? Well, simple tool is, so well, let's flip the chart around, because we used to trading bullish scenarios. So there's a little tool here called, you can use either the shortcut, Alt-I, or you can just invert the scale. All that it does, it just flips the chart around. Mirrors it. Now we're going to play a little trick on you guys. When we look at the charts, And when we look at a consolidation, what we would normally do is we'll say to you guys, okay, right? If we trend down, let's say we're trending down, I'm going to draw a trend line, and we change character. Now we can have multiple. Remember, this is a momentum line. So let me just bring in the momentum line over here. This is a momentum line. What can we see? Well, if this is the momentum to the downside, somewhere over there, it doesn't need to be that accurate. When we change character, what do our first thing I want to see? I want to see a higher high. So if I want to be bullish, which means I'm going to be bearish because I'm inverting it. So let's just say we want to trade this chart bullish. What's the first thing I'm going to be looking at? Well, I'm going to say, well, if I break my momentum, that's my first thing. Second thing is I need a higher high. Now, have I got a higher high at this stage? No. Now, you guys know when we don't have a higher high, what happens is your buy on a probability scale is favored to fail, meaning more times than others, it's going to fail because you haven't changed the trend. So if I am bullish on this chart, which indirectly makes me bearish because we inverted it, I've got no reason to be bullish because we have not made a higher high. We've engulfed this. This is the whole structure. We lost momentum at the bottom, changed the momentum around. What did we do? We didn't make a higher high. Okay. Subsequently, we're in a lateral pattern. What we didn't make a higher high. That's why I'm bullish. Now, what do I do? If I say, okay, well, if I look at this and the argument is I want to trade this for in case it breaks this trend line now. Remember our basis and our premise is that if this is the buys, that's pressing the price down, this area should hold in order for price to go and make yet another lower low. You want to see the following. So you don't want to be losing this. But if you want to now trade the argument, you want to bet against the bearish sentiment or the bullish sentiment, and you want to be a bear. What do you want to see? Well, we want to identify a few targets where we can actually do that realistically and profitable. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say we do break above this. This was a normal chart. Where would you want to go and attack? Which highs would you want to take profit on? Well, you're going to want to take profit over there, most probably. Let's just call it a TP line. And you would want to try and attack these lows and whatever the case. I'm bear market now. I want to go bearish. Okay? So if this is the scale, and remember, this is now a daily chart. If this is the scale, and this is where I would want to see this thing go bearish. What do I want to do? Well, firstly, we need to find some sort of a base to confirm this. That's where I would want to short, because on this run, what do I have? Well, I do have a higher high. So on a smaller time frame, it supports the bearish scenario or the bullish scenario because we've got our chart inverted. So if I want to go bullish, say, and I want to target these areas over here, what do? I've got my higher high. Now I start looking for my buy. And that is why we're still bullish. Because the argument is that we're trying to achieve this. If I wanted to short this, this is not the time to short because where do I have to draw my risk? Now, Lee always uses this tool and to great effect. So if this is my gain, let's say we go to any of these ranges there. 40% gain, where would my risk be? Well, it needs to be hiding below these levels over here. So at this stage, risk to reward is fairly balanced. It's not a profitable opportunity for me to short. I can scalp and BS myself and say that I'm going to take that as a trade, but indirectly, you're just putting your stop limit in harm's way. That's the same as the reason why we bought Bitcoin at these levels, because we could have our stop limit in an area where very little manipulation will be in effect to go and capture that liquidity. Okay, so now, but that being said, everybody's on par with what we're doing here. Just give me a hell yeah.
For the guy who has just joined us in the middle of the stream, this chart is inverted. That's why when Rudo says I'm gonna short with the with the green like a buy, it's because the chart is inverted. So yeah,
let me write that down. Inverted chart. Okay, and why I like this is because it's a mind hustle. You know, it kind of just plays with your perception. all of a sudden, the way that I've pictured this now, the people that were bearish, now thinking, wait a minute, what have we done? We have not given ourselves the conditions to be bearish. We're purely setting up for it, but we haven't had that yet on a larger time frame. And those that are bullish are saying, whoa, the bears are showing they're gaining momentum, and maybe I need to think of how I reduce my risk. Because if you're still holding your long terms, there would be subsequent, there would be a significant reduction in your portfolio balance. And rightfully so. I mean, the alts were taking the bigger grunt of the punishment. So now if we use our same little strategy that we always use, and the argument is, this is the area where we created our higher high. We want to now play this bullish. The analysis is going to give us a target where we will be able to short Bitcoin. I'm just going to do that. Oh, that RNT is not quite looking nicely, but you guys get the picture. So if that is the case, where would we want to be looking at that? Well, there's many ways. Lee uses his fibs. So if we use Lee's fibs level, I'm just going to go with a normal retracement. What would be the targets for that? Well, there's a 618, there's a 38.2. And what is the conditions for us to say that the consolidation is in fact in effect, and we will be able to go to any of these levels? Well, we lose and we open and close below the 23.6. Now, have we done it? Yes, we've done it. We are consolidating. We're making lower highs in this instance. So smart money would say, if I wanted to buy this to try and go to these TPs at the level, where would most people's stops be sitting? Well, their stops will either be sitting in this range over here. So the 38.2, that 47 level that Lee is looking at, looks like a probable buy, which means if I wanted to reduce my risk, that would be an area to reduce the risk. And then the second opportunity is probably going to be this area over here, where we then dive into maybe a 12-hour time frame. And what you see is when you go into a 12-hour time frame is that this last little engulfing structure over here had a candle that made a higher high at around that level over there. And when we then slap our magic 50% fib on those two candles, that can be 61,800, could be the big turning point. And these are all the targets now that we need to now keep in mind. Should we want to long this? So if you really want to be bearish, this would be the opportunity. And I'll just invert this now for you to be bearish. Lee, so I'm going to invert this back. Buddy, what do you want to add, or what do you want to say to people when we now look at this chart inverted back?
Yeah, minimum 55. For me, there's one of the rule. When you lose 38.2, you go to 618. So I was telling Rudo, do you realize that 4 months ago we were calling? I mean, not we, but some people were calling 100K BTC before the end of the year. 4 months later, we are just sitting here hoping for 46.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just waiting for this 46. If we can go above 46, consolidate above this 46.6, there's a higher probability to go to 55. And yes, at that time, it is reasonable if you are overexposed to balance your portfolio, coin, cryptocurrency versus stable coin, because there will be reaction to the downside at 618, or even a little bit above that at 786. And only in that area we are supposed to sell or readjust a little bit of portfolio for that little retrace. And now that little retrace, we have to monitor it if they want to come make a lower low, or it's gonna fail and we're gonna shoot up higher.
So with this mind hustle, let's call it a mind hustle or hack, I want to ask everybody that gave us a 999 in the chat, if you're still that uber bearish, or would the common sense now be there to understand that if you want to be bearish, now is not the time to be bearish. This is the time to be bearish, and that's the time to be bearish, and that's the time to be bearish. because at this stage, what it is showing us is that a correction is imminent for this wave. And if we then go above these levels, what will happen is we will have a test. And that is why I'm still predominantly bullish, because big picture, we have not made any lower low on the scale of the weeks or the monthly. Remember now with the daily, in the hourly, and in the 5 minute, you can argue we've made heavy lower lows, but within the time frame that I'm analyzing this, for me, the lower low is not there yet. Okay, so that is the worrying fact. And that lower low will only be in there because there's the bearish engulfing structure. We go and we break that. I'm bearish. And then I would reduce even more at these levels. So that's the two scenarios at play. So when to short, everybody should realistically now know when to short. To short is literally not now. Now, there is a scenario if you wanted to short, where you could short the break of the structure. But the problem is that that's got a very low probability rate of being successful. And for me, that's not, on a leverage trade, it's not viable. I cannot do that consistently and walk away profitable, especially on the fact that we don't have any long-term bearish momentum. The next time round, say you break this structure, you do this, and then you create a new structure, then it's good because then it's a breakout trade. It's a breakout trade to the bottom. Then the probability starts shifting in your favor. So now that we've got common sense and some safety in that, we then have a little bit of an idea of the scale and time that we need to be patient. Now let's back this up with some good charts, Lee. So I'm going to take away my screen and I'm going to ask you all, do you have a specific chart that you want to use to back up what we're saying now? Bring in a little bit more technical analysis into this.
On Bitcoin, I think we've done the analysis on BTC yesterday.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do this for you guys.
Yeah, we can continue this the analysis on yesterday's, because yesterday, do you see my chart?
No, I don't. I can bring up your chart. Your StreamYard's there. Okay, cool.
Okay. So yeah, yesterday we are still looking at, if this correction of B, if assuming that we're in the flat, if this B is done or not. And we had a reaction up, a little retrace. We did not even went to 618. And then we went up to fill this imbalance. So that box is ticked. There's no more imbalance here. Now we're coming down, and only this morning we went to 618. Okay. So if that is the correction that we're waiting for, now the next target technically is going to 41K. And one of the counts that we can see here is maybe we did 1, 2, 3, so wave up and A. And we are only doing a second wave, 1, 2, 3 on the 2. And we could go up for a 3 and maybe a 4 and 5. And this is called a leading diagonal. Remember yesterday when we said there's a flat is always 3, 3, 5. So this is the 5 wave can be either an impulse where the 4 cannot go below the 1. And if it goes below the 1, it's called a diagonal. It's also like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But inside those waves, the structure is different. Instead of having 5 waves, you only have 3 waves. 3 waves everywhere, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're expecting maybe to have another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to finish with 1, 2, 3, 5-wave structure up. But if they manage to smash it down a little bit more and go below the 0, then obviously we still have this level at 36, 35, 7, 36 for the 123% of the extended flat here. So
that's where my long-term bullish imbalance is still sitting there. So in the same way that Lee's analysis played out to that 1, there's a probability that it only starts there. So that's something.
I would like to show also on a daily chart, if you analyze now these 2 candles. Okay. So yesterday we had a bullish candle. We did close here. We didn't make a higher high. So this candle for me is already bullish. Now what happened after a candle like this? It's normal to have a retrace or going back to this bullish candle, as long as we're not making a lower low, which is 37.5. this is considered as a retrace for another, maybe tomorrow or even later today or during this evening, to go for another higher high. And if you only analyze,
it's a little weak, because when you look at it now, Lee, it really looks.
And guess where this week?
It looks bad, but yeah.
Guess where this week went? If you put a fib level from the bottom, from yesterday's low to the yesterday's high, that week went to the golden zone. Okay, 618.786, which happened just now this morning. Okay, so if you look at the smaller time frame, that was basically the fib level that we had here on the chart. I think it was this one here. So this pivot here was previous daily low. This is here the previous daily high. And if you put a fib from this low here to that high, I'm gonna just remove this wave so I can put this correctly. Let me remove this imbalance as well. So you see that gray line. Let me remove this. Maybe I'm gonna remove the waves. And that was the previous day. So this is the daily high. So if you put this fib here, which is this one, let me draw again this one. From this below to this high here, we went to the 618 zone as a perfect retrace for a second wave, or for a B to go up again. So now the question is it done? Or maybe we're gonna go one level lower at 37.8, 37.9, and this could be the correction that we are waiting for another leg higher.
And now, on a smaller time frame, you guys can start setting in your higher level. Where would be the high level for the smaller time frame to start, preemptively warn you whether if it's going to happen, if it's going to fail, because that's the beauty of smaller time frames. Once you've got a bigger time frame narrative going.
Yeah, I mean, this was the bearish structure, the last one. And now with this bump, we did make a higher high compared to the whole structure here. And now this retrace is safer, has got higher probability to play out if you buy the 618 retrace. Okay, compared to those ones, for example, here, you can see if you put a pivot on higher high here, that push up did not make a higher high. And what happened, if you were to take that trade here, from this retrace to that one, yes, you had a test at 618, come back up, but then it failed because we did not have a higher high. And that's playing out on the smaller time frame. And the same analysis was that you just did, Rudo, on a bigger time frame.
So yeah. So I think we've got it basically laid out for you guys.
Just to finish, I just saw this before the show. We were talking about those coins that we had, Rune and everything. I think Anchor Protocol. When we did that stream, yes, maybe sometime, I forgot, sometimes last week.
Somewhere last week, I think we did.
But it was here. It was on the 10th of March. So we're waiting for this higher high to play out. So this Anchor Protocol went here to make a higher high, come back, and now we are right here sitting in this golden zone. So for me, this is also an honest trade to have. Maybe you can go still a little bit lower, but that will be the first position that you could take. And remember, this was on a daily chart, so it could take a few days to play out, but that is a perfect area to play this setup. Getting long here, or even have another order here, put your stop loss at the bottom. And obviously, it is a big stop loss, so you have to adjust your position accordingly to this risk. It's a big risk, 53% risk. You don't want to lose 53% of your portfolio by losing one trade. Okay. So if you can remind people what is that risk, and if you have $1,000 or $100, how much money would you put on that trade?
Yeah, so basically it's a simple math equation. Well, you can just calculate in your head. I've got $100. For every $100 that I'm trading, I want to lose my 3 or my 5%. So simply put, if the total amount of risk is how many percent they leave?
54.
54. Okay, so the simplest way is for every $100, I'm only allowed to use $10. because then if I get stopped out on that $10,
You
I'm
lose
only
5.
losing 5% of my $100. Now I can't take this trade and have that big stop and have the rest of the dollar sitting there and go and spend it on another trade, because then I'm not applying the risk. I can only use that money, that additional money that I'm parked to the side, once my stop is moved up to break even. So once the buy is confirmed and it starts trending up and you can reduce your risk to 0, then you can say, well, now I can use that money again. You can use that money to buy additional confirmations on your current trade, or you can use that money to buy another coin that's currently sitting in the same area. And that's how we manage our risk. Just because you have $100 to spend doesn't give you the right to spend $100. The chart gives you the risk, and it's not us deciding 3%. The goal is to not lose more than 3%. So you look at the chart risk, and then you have to calculate backwards to ensure that you don't lose more than 3%. And that's how we go about trading, which means sometimes you have a brilliant trade, but the risk was so high that you're not making a killing out of it. But that then helps you to keep the common sense and take some of that profit, because you will have opportunities to ladder in your buys. Lee, what else do you have there while we're on this quickly? Let's spend another 2 minutes quickly on this.
I don't know, maybe this one, IOS USDT. Let me see if it did come to that area or not. No, still a little bit above that. Yeah, there's Ethereum Classic. If you take this move here to this move here, we are coming back to this imbalance area. So maybe that will be another trade. But honestly, I prefer the Anchor protocol than Ethereum Classic.
Okay. What I have here for you guys is something similar. I'm going to quickly bring up my screen. I'm going to be quick about it. Add to stream. Okay, so just to give you guys an idea, this was the setup we gave for Flux. So the idea is higher high, same analysis, 786, golden zone. And currently the price is bouncing around in that area. Big buy zone, a lot of risk there, but it's a large ratio trade. So for me, the buy is still there, and you're welcome to take that trade because it's still sitting in the buy zone, and the risk is 7% at this stage. So if I want to trade $100 and I only want to lose $3, I'm allowed to take $50 and buy. It's right at that floor bottom price. It's coming off a higher high, so I'm happy to give it a stab. If it gets stopped out, that's why the stop limit is there, because we do not know what's going to happen in the future. Bitcoin starts breaking up. I promise you this is going to follow track. Bitcoin loses support, falls down the floor. This is probably going to get stopped out. That's the reality. And then just another one that I was looking at just now was, I think it was this one. GLMR. So what have we done? We have not made a higher high yet, but we're getting to the point where we're breaking that bearish momentum. So keep an eye on this one. Don't buy this one. Wait for it. Go make that higher high. Same thing. Wait for it now to show you that it wants to do, because then we can probably buy it again at the price that it's currently sitting now. But that would be a confirmation buy. Also took a severe bleeding. So they're going to take time to recover. So we can expect a safe bet to say that you're going to have something like this in the future. So you can grab these buys, but you just have to be patient for them. There's a lot more of those ones that I'm looking at. But for now, I first just want to see Bitcoin do what it needs to do before we can start dabbling in. And most of them needs to go and make those higher highs. So we can be patient and wait a little bit on alts. Okay, Lee, that's it from me, buddy. I think we did a lot. So let's maybe recap on everybody. The ones that were 999, give me a 999 again if you're still bearish. We'll go check the comments afterwards. And the ones that were bullish, you still comfortable being bullish for 100K Bitcoin, or are you going to reduce your risk? That's something that I want you guys to answer me in the description, in the comments after the stream. Send us your thoughts. We can chat a little bit on that as well. And we can always use that to discuss tomorrow and whatever we want to add to the significance of Bitcoin's price action. Okay, Lee, that's it from my side. I'm going to go. Anything you want to add? Can we sign off?
Yeah. Where are you
Ready to
going?
go?
Where are you going? Ready to go?
I'm going to go right there. That's my drive. I'm going from my one office to my other office.
Okay.
And just keep busy. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Oh.
Keep hustling. Hustling.